How many board meetings have you attended where the board chair started things out by looking offhandedly over his or her bifocals at a piece of paper and said, first a few housekeeping items. I suspect that every nation and language has some equivalent of this term just for board meeting. The chair then notes weighty issues like parking validation, the restroom down the hall being out of order, or an early lunch break. Often this extends into the agenda, switching a couple of items around because a staffer with the slide deck's running late, or noticing that an enclosure cited for the board book is out of order. Here's an exercise for your next board meeting. As the chair proceeds through the agenda, note how many of the other items listed could also be considered as housekeeping items. These include seemingly minor tick box things that are strictly for information, but there are also quick aye votes on material the board has seen, extending a credit line, using the same contractor, renewing a loan covenant, etc., etc. Even when using a consent agenda, these housekeeping items tie up a lot of board time. Pushing on, notice how many things like committee reports, audit statements, filings, disclosure approvals, contracts, and other board necessities are almost always treated in your boardroom like further housekeeping matters. You gave the material in your board book a quick review. None of the directors have any comments. Nobody on staff is raising any issues. You vote aye, you move on. But what are you moving on to? It can be troubling to step back, look at your board agenda, and realize that the majority of the time in your meetings is invested either in housekeeping items or governance business you treat as such. Solutions to this lack of mindfulness in governance aren't easy to find, and they bring their own issues. The use of board portals and dashboard infotech, for example, allows fast, solid review of performance, financial, or compliance items that were formerly obscure or complex. But if you show mostly green lights and ask just a quick query on the yellows, have you really weighed the overall value of the items being measured to the company? Finally, assuming that the housekeeping busy work items really are matters that should be handled quickly, what are you doing with the extra time you could free up? Most board members tell me they dislike wasting time on checkbox compliance items or presentations. They prefer strategic board discussion. All good, but just how valuable is your board discussion anyway? Strategic talk that consists of rambling, or showboating, or irrelevancies is just housekeeping items by another name. I'm Ralph Ward from the Boardroom for November.